Hi everyone, my name is Anna, Migrant Dr. Mom, and thank you so much for finding the time to join me today on yet another video. So today I essentially just want to talk about my 5 top tips of achieving your dreams. And so essentially, I was just reflecting on my personal life, and at various times in life, I've actually had, various dreams. And essentially, a dream is something that you hope to achieve in the near future. So I've had different dreams or different desires at different times of my life. As a young mom, as a career woman, and eventually as a migrant worker and a wife, different desires and different dreams at every time, And I've over time, I've actually, reviewed and looked at my life, and essentially, I just want to share with you, some of the tips that have guided me sort of to be able to stay on course and eventually to be able to achieve, my dreams. And dreams, it just depends on what point of your life you are. At some point, your dream is just to finish med school and then pass exams. And then, when you start raising kids, then you start thinking about, the desire, of being, developing, your kids. And then home ownership is another dream that I've seen achieved, and then fellowship and stuff like that. So at every point in life, you do seem to get those dreams that you wish to see fulfilled, and the and today's topic is just to encourage somebody and also just to share how I've done it, and just share my journey. And when I was preparing this topic, I was quickly reminded of, the story of Faith Kipyegon. At some point, the on the internet was, so much was, being said about her, how she won, and how she won so many feats in athletics, in 1500 meters and stuff like that. And a photo was shown of her, the fact, she's a mother after, childbirth, the changes that happened to a lady. And I was just, feeling so glad for her as a mother, because sometimes, when you've set yourself for a dream, some people may not actually understand your dream, because the dream is yours. It's just your dream. And I was looking at her and seeing all, the scars and all the changes that had happened to her. And naturally, as a mother, it's something that, you go through every time, and the motivation and the ability that she's gone through to achieve what she wanted to. And this is not only to her, other athletes, people in careers, people in various walks of life, people that have made it in the journalism industry. Everybody normally starts off with a dream. So today is just essentially to share my tips on how to achieve your dream. The biggest tip is, your dream is yours, so own it. Some people may not actually understand your dream. Some people may not know what is driving you, what is the driving force of doing what you want to do. And sometimes, people may, complain that you haven't shared your dream with them. But sometimes, in my experience, I've come to realize that some people may not actually understand your dream. And because they don't understand your dream, they may actually discourage you from even trying to achieve your dreams. And most times than not, they are not doing it out of malice. They just do not understand your dream. They just do not understand why you want to do what you want to do. And a lot of them will be people that, people that are your friends, people that are family, people that are, could be a spouse, and they actually just think that that's not the right thing for you to do. But you actually may understand, may know why you have that desire. I'm just reminded, when I started the journey of coming to Australia, it did sound so foolish. I'll be honest, it did sound like it was, it wasn't even making sense even to myself. But look, I had that desire to, the main desire, to be very honest, was just to give my kids a different environment to grow in, and probably give them, opportunities at life, and also just, to change, our lives, and also just to work in an environment, a different environment. And so at that point in time, I was in the middle of, about to start my master's degree, and it did not make sense to many, and because of that, I didn't share my dream with a lot of people until when it started to unfold. And sometimes the reason is not because, you don't want to share your dream. It's just because, you're scared that people will actually discourage you and tell you, this is not it. And actually, a friend of mine actually was like, oh, you guys are the ones that are given an opportunity. You don't want to grab the opportunity. You're denying other people an opportunity. But look, if you're somebody like me, once you set your mind to do something, you won't stop until you do it. So sometimes people may not understand your dream, and it is only you that can own your dream. And remember, sometimes some of the killers of a dream is fear. A lot of us fear. I remember when I was starting this YouTube channel, I was like, what are people going to say about me? What are people going to, there's always that fear of the unknown, when you're changing jobs, there's always that fear of the unknown where you're wondering, what are people going to say? What are people going to say about me? And, fear is the biggest killer of your dream. So sometimes just forget about what other people are going to say about you, and remember that it is only you that can see the full picture of your dream. It is only you that can experience what God has in store for you, and therefore you actually go forth and forge forward with your dream. The other biggest fear, when you're trying to own your dream, sometimes the killer of that would be fear of, of failure, and then, fear of, sometimes you feel like, despite your efforts, it will actually not work. Many times, you keep wondering, why am I even doing this? But, sometimes somebody will just slide into my DM and say something, and I'll be like, oh, let me just keep going, because this is helping somebody that I actually don't know, somebody that I haven't met in a long time, somebody that, is in a different part of the world and stuff like that. So essentially, if you have a dream and you feel that, that's something that you want to do, and something that you feel in your spirit that you really want to achieve, just own it. Own it, knowing that some people around you will not even appreciate it. Own it, knowing that, even your closest, your inner circle may actually not understand it. And again, it's not because of malice, or it's not because they don't want the best for you. It's just because they don't understand your dream. And that's okay. And that's okay. The second thing is that I have found over time, throughout my life, is I always write my dream down. I always say, look, by the end of this time, I want to have, achieved this. My desire is to have achieved this, and to probably, own a home and stuff like that. So, and writing it down keeps me accountable, because then I can come back later and say, oh my goodness, this is what God has allowed me to do, and this is what I've been able to do. So writing it down is good. And it's scriptural as well, in Habakkuk 2:2-3. It just reminds you to write it down, so that you can come back and look at it and say, look, this is the far that I have come. I remember, because I have always been somebody that journals, and I journal, the discouragements. If you've listened to my video about my first job in Australia, the discouragements of, finding a job, and then again losing it before I even started it. And I remember, because I journal a lot, and most of my journals is usually a prayer to God and stuff like that. You journal back, and you actually look back at your journals, and you look and you go like, at this point in time, this is what was happening. I was discouraged. I was doing this, but then I kept going on. And look at me now. Look, I've achieved what I had anticipated to achieve. I'm happy, so essentially the power of writing it down is that you can come back. You can come back and look at where you've come from, how far you've come, and actually acknowledge the grace that has been over your life. So If you have a dream, write it down and keep yourself accountable to what you've written down. The third thing is, remember, dreams can take time. It depends on what you have desired to do, what you hope to do. Some dreams actually take a long time. I do have some dreams that are yet to come, but that doesn't stop me from still dreaming or hoping to do a few more things. And that's fine. I mean, there are things that you wish for and they come 2 weeks down the line. There are things that you wish for and they come 5 years down the line. The idea is to keep forging towards your dream, developing things that will gear you towards your dream, and giving yourself grace enough to know that even though it's going to take time, even though it tarries, it will come to happen, and encourage yourself that, look, this is just a season, And this reminds me quite a lot because, just recently cleared my fellowship and, having to travel back and forth. There are days that you feel discouraged on the way because it's a distance that you have to travel for work. And, you stop and you wonder, why am I even doing this? But then you retrace your step and remember, this is a dream that I have to fulfill. And it's going to take a short time, and you tune yourself and know that this is just a season that I'm going through before I realize that this season of summer is going to run, its course. And before long, I will be, I will be in a different season, a season of where I want to be. So sometimes it's worthwhile going through those processes, going through the hard moments and just acknowledging, look, it's going to take time. And sometimes they say good things take time. So sometimes it may actually take longer than you anticipate, but eventually when it comes forth, then you can even acknowledge how far you've come, and you can even acknowledge, the grace, of God over your life and how far you've come. The next thing that I will always say about having a dream is you need to have a plan on how to reach your dream. Remember, they say without a plan, your dream will not be successful. Because look, you want to move from point A to point B, you need to know whether you're going to walk, whether you're going to crawl, whether you're going to ride, whether you're going to drive, or whether you're going to fly. So depending on the urgency of your dream, you need to plan and know, am I going to do it this way? This is the time that you may actually have to restructure your life really well. This is the time that you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone, because many times to reach your dream, you have to sacrifice something. To get a better tomorrow. And sometimes the sacrifice and the process itself, the process of getting to your dream, may not be sweet. It may not be easy. But that does not stop you from the fact that to move from point A to point B, you have to go through that course. You have to walk the journey. You have to experience the turmoil. You have to experience the hardship so that you come on the other end and say, look, this is the far that I've come. So that's the time to restructure. That's the time to do your baseline research. If it's a new job, if it is a new business that you're trying to venture in, that's the time to do research and know that this is what I want to do. By this time, I want to do this. If it requires you to study and go back to school, do it. Do it. It's going to take you a while, but it will happen. If you need to network for you to move from point A to point B, then it is important to exactly do that, remembering that it is going to take a process, but eventually you'll get there. So you have to plan. You cannot just wake up and say, oh, I want to do this and this and this 2 years down the line or 12 months down the line. I want to, let's say, a simple one, I want to lose weight by the end of the year. You cannot just wake up and do the same things that you've been doing and expect a difference towards the end of the year. You cannot say you want to go to school and finish and not enroll in the school, So for you to improve yourself, you just sort of have to come up with a plan that this is how I'm going to do this. And I always say, grade you'll have those things or those dreams that you wish to do that are short term, and you have those things that you want to do that are long term. But along the way, and this is in tying with my last point, consistent and obviously, putting in the daily deposits. You will have to gradually build up, put down some small deposits, towards, the bigger picture, And like I always say, and I think I have already mentioned, is those small deposits that you're putting down may cost you. They may not be, easy. I remember when we moved to Australia, when we were starting live, it wasn't easy, you know, it wasn't easy at all. But we had set ourselves that within 5 years, we want to have done 1, 2, 3, and 4. And looking back, that has actually happened, you know. One of them, which is my fellowship, has taken a bit longer, but it has happened eventually. So sometimes it may not be comfortable. It took disposing a property. It took, severing some relationships. It took a lot of things from us. But, eventually when you've set up your mind that this is what you want to do, and you decided you're going to put small deposits towards it, you're going to reach the other side. And again, in our settling in, we lost relations at home. We had to travel. We didn't have friends. We didn't have some needs and stuff like that. But looking back, it was all worth it. It was all worth it because it's taught us, it's built some virtues in us, virtues of patience, virtues of holding on, virtues on clinging on to each other virtues of trusting in God, virtues of, knocking doors and being persistent, networking, reaching out, to those that have gone before us. Sometimes, getting things off the road to use in the house, like furniture, it's taken us quite a long time. But looking back now, you can actually, look back and say, I am where I am because of the process. I am where I am because of the journey that it took to get me to where I am today. And so if you are in a situation like that, you've always had this desire of wanting to do 1, 2, 3. You do have that dream within you. The dream is alive, but over and over again, you look and you're like, it's too big. How am I going to move from point A to point B? I want to encourage you to do small deposits, do small deposits. If your giant is, losing weight, do small deposits. If your giant is building a home for your family, put the small deposits, which is essentially denying yourself some things, putting aside something, taking out a loan, taking out a mortgage, just doing something. You cannot just do nothing and expect something to happen. You have to put in the work. You have to be patient. You have to wait the process, trust the process. Remember, you have to, a child has to sit, they have to crawl, they have to walk even before they run. But look, on your dream, keep your dream and live your dream. Before you realize it, it's going to happen. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless you. Thank you.